I've been an OTR driver for about 4 years now. Before that, I was a nurse. I left the hospital world behind after burnout took its toll. Now it's just me, my rig, and the road. Nights are quieter, and you don't deal with as many people. That's the part I like. This happened during a run across Missouri. Highway 36. If you know it, you know how empty it gets in the middle of the night. Just stretches of dark, nothing between small town exits. I pulled off around 2 a.m. to fill up in a bathroom break. I hadn't seen another car in miles and I was getting tired. The gas station was technically open, lights on, pumps working, but the storefront itself looked closed. The building had those flickering fluorescent lights outside, the kind that hum and attract every moth in the county. One working pump. The others had trash bags over the handles. I left the engine running while I filled up. My usual routine. There wasn't a single other truck in the lot. I was halfway through filling up when I noticed movement in my peripheral vision. A woman was walking toward me from the far end of the station, near the dumpster. I didn't hear her come up. No footsteps, no car door, nothing. Just there she was. She looked to be in her late 20s, pale, shoulder-length black hair. You could tell right away. It was greasy, limp, and untouched by a brush. She had on a gray hoodie and loose jeans, both a little too big for her. No purse, no phone. She stopped about 6 feet away and just looked at me. She didn't blink, didn't move, just stared. I figured maybe she needed help, so I said, "Hey, you okay?" She didn't answer. I watched her for a second. Her face was expressionless, not scared, not angry, just blank. After a pause that felt way too long, she said, "Is it safe?" I asked, "What do you mean?" She didn't clarify, just stared. Still no blinking. I tried again. "Are you hurt or something?" Another long pause. Then she took one small step closer. Something about the way she moved was wrong. Not quite robotic, but off. I stopped pumping and reached up to shut the fuel cap. My brain hadn't hit panic mode, but my body was getting there. I've seen people high, scared, even hallucinating. This didn't feel like any of those. "Do you have a ride?" I asked. She tilted her head slightly like a curious dog. Didn't answer. Then another step closer, 4 feet away now. That's when I got a better look at her eyes. Wide open, watery, but still not blinking. I tried to subtly angle myself back toward the cab door without making it obvious. She said, almost in a whisper, "You shouldn't be alone." I didn't respond, just reached for the handle and opened the door. That's when she lunged forward, a sudden two-step like she was trying to close the gap fast. I yanked myself up into the seat and slammed the door shut. As I hit the lock, I looked toward the pumps, and then I saw them. 2 men. Standing still near the side of the station, partially hidden in the shadows. One had on a ball cap, the other a hoodie like hers. Both had their arms at their sides. No movement, no talking, just watching. My hands went straight to the gear shift. I didn't even wait to check the nozzle. Thankfully, I'd already taken it out. The woman didn't follow me around the front. She just turned slowly, like she was going to circle toward the driver's side. I didn't let her get that far. I threw it into drive and punched the gas. My tires screeched a little on the pavement, but I didn't care. I cut a wide arc to avoid the woman, the pumps, the men. The trailer fishtailed slightly, but didn't lose traction. As I cleared the lot, I looked once in the side mirror. She was standing in the exact same spot. Not looking at the truck, looking straight into the mirror. At me, still not blinking. I made it another 20 miles before I pulled over at a truck stop with real lights and other rigs. I parked as close as I could to the main entrance and just sat there for a while. I kept checking the mirrors like she might have somehow followed me. I didn't bother calling the cops. Try explaining bad vibes to a dispatcher. I mean, what do you say? Help. she looked at me weird. But I never stopped at that station again. And now, every time I pull off the highway late at night, I scan the lot first. I make sure I'm not the only one there. Because whatever was going to happen at that gas station, it wasn't random. It was a setup. And I think she wanted me to trust her first. This happened back in the summer of 2021. I was doing an overnight run from Wichita down to Amarillo. Nothing special, just freight, loaded and rolling steady. That stretch of road, especially after midnight, gets real quiet. Not peaceful, just heavy. I've done it 100 times before. Nothing but tires on asphalt, the occasional rig going by, and the crackle of a half-lost radio signal. I was in my 17th year on the road, divorced, kids grown enough not to need much more than a text check-in. Driving kept me sane, or at least busy. That night, I had a thermos of coffee, half a pack of gum, and the CB chatter was low. Typical. Just west of Enid, the road starts stretching out into long, open pieces. No real towns, just gas stations and the occasional cattle truck pulling off. I kept my eyes ahead, both mirrors clean. Everything felt normal. At first, somewhere past the state line, I noticed it. A shape behind me. Way back at first, too far to make out. I caught it in the top corner of my left mirror. Looked like a car, maybe a compact, no lights on. I didn't think much of it. Some folks drive stupid late at night. Maybe a headlight was out. Maybe they were trying to conserve battery. Who knows? But as the miles rolled on, the shape stayed there. No headlights, no passing, just far enough to barely see. When I changed lanes, it did too. Same pace, same distance, like we were tethered together. I eased up a bit on the pedal, dropped 5 miles an hour, the shape dropped too. That's when I got uneasy. There's a difference between coincidence and tracking. This wasn't someone just cruising behind me. This felt tuned, like they were keyed in on me. I toggled the CB to see if anyone nearby had eyes on it. Got nothing but silence. I tapped my brakes, just quick, testing if they'd react. In the mirror, I saw the faint glint of movement. They did. They matched me again. I thought maybe it was another trucker messing around, but there were no marker lights, no clearance lights, and truckers don't usually do silent tailgating. After a while, it started getting to me. That creeping sense of someone playing a game, but not letting you in on the rules. Every exit I passed, I considered pulling off, but each one was just a gas station with a single pump, maybe a soda machine. Not the kind of place you want to stop if you've got a problem. So I kept going. Finally, just past the Oklahoma-Texas border, I saw a decent-sized rest stop. Lit up, a couple of rigs already there, vending machines, even a security camera pole. I didn't signal, just swerved in fast, trying to break the pattern. Pulled through the front row, parked by the trash cans. I threw it in neutral, kept the engine running. Checked the mirror. No car. Nothing followed me in. I exhaled for the first time in an hour. Maybe I'd imagined the whole thing. Maybe I was just tired. I hopped down, stretched, cracked my back. Walked around the cab doing the usual checks. Tires, straps. It felt good to move. But then I noticed something. 3 spaces down, near the darker edge of the lot, sat a car. A small sedan. Lights off. No one inside. I stared at it for a good 30 seconds. The hood had that shimmer, that heat ripple that only happens when an engine's been running, but the windshield was empty. Driver's seat was pushed far back, like whoever had been in it was tall. But no glow from a phone, just nothing. And I swear I hadn't seen it when I pulled in. I would have noticed. I backed away slowly, keeping my eyes on it. Climbed back into the cab, locked both doors, and pulled the curtain behind the seat. Didn't sleep. Didn't even shut off the engine. Just sat in the dark, sipping coffee and watching the mirrors. Every hour or so, a rig would roll in or out. Nobody touched that car. It stayed exactly where it was. Until around 5 a.m., I saw movement. Just a blur, and the car was gone. No startup noise, no lights coming on, just vanished down the road. I waited another full hour before moving. When I finally pulled out, I looped the lot once. Checked every corner, no sign of it. Told myself it was just someone messing around. Maybe a tired driver. Maybe a prank. But I've seen pranks. This wasn't that. This was patience. Calculation. Whoever it was, they wanted me to know they were there. But not why. I started driving day routes after that. Fewer overnight runs. Kept an aluminum bat behind the seat. Not for animals. For peace of mind. But that feeling, the one where you're not alone, even when no one's talking, it sticks with you. That stretch of road used to be just asphalt. Now, every time I take it, I check my mirrors more than I look ahead. Some people think danger's loud, but I've been doing this job long enough to know. It's not the headlights that scare you. It's when there aren't any at all. I just finished loading a shipment at a depot outside San Diego. Auto parts, mostly brake drums and struts, heavy stuff. The load was solid and the tie-downs were triple checked. It was the last drop of daylight, and I was aiming to push east and find a rest stop before midnight. The dispatcher had been late again, and I was already running 2 hours behind. One of the guys at the depot had joked on the way out, "Careful once you hit the desert stretch near Barstow. Weird stuff out there after dark." I gave him a thumbs up and kept it moving. Stuff like that doesn't faze me. I've been hauling long enough to hear every urban legend from every lonely diner counter between Portland and Laredo. Still, I don't ignore my rig. A few miles past Lucerne Valley, the tire pressure warning light blinked on. Rear driver's side axle. Could have been nothing. Could have been a slow leak. I didn't want to chance it. I pulled off onto a wide gravel turnout, just before the road thinned to one lane each direction. No cars in sight. Nothing but scrub and red rock as far as you could look. I threw on the flashers and rolled the window down halfway to let some air in. The desert was still radiating heat off the asphalt, but the sky had already gone that deep red. I was just about to hop out and check the pressure when I spotted movement in the side mirror. A guy was walking toward me. Vest, gloves, baseball cap. Looked like he came out of nowhere. I stayed put. He waved like we were old friends. "Saw the flashers," he said, too cheerful. "Need a hand?" My window was still halfway down. "I'm good, just checking the sensor." He came closer anyway. "I'm with roadside assistance. Some nights I do patrols through here." That didn't track. No ID, no van, no markings. He had a roll of tools on his hip and a rag in one hand, like he was trying too hard to sell the look. He gestured at my tire. "Mind popping out real quick? I can take a look, get you back on the road faster." "No thanks," I said, calm but firm. He smiled again, too friendly now. "You sure? Don't want to get stuck out here. Ain't a lot of help this way after dark." "I already called it in," I lied. "CHP's sending someone." There was a pause, then a nod, but his expression changed, like whatever he was pretending to be wasn't holding up anymore. "You got someone on the way. That's good," he said, stepping back. "Just trying to help." I watched him in the mirror as he walked back into the desert dusk. Not toward a car, just off into the brush. I didn't move. Then I started the engine and eased back onto the road, hands tight on the wheel. Didn't punch it. Just drove like normal, but alert. The pressure light was still blinking. I didn't care. I'd make it to the next station and let someone I trusted check it. When I finally hit a proper truck stop, I pulled into the repair bay. Some young guy named Danny came out wiping his hands on a rag. "Tire sensor flagged a problem," I said. "Mind taking a quick look?" He crawled under the rig. Less than 5 minutes later, he came back around holding 3 lug nuts in his hand. "These were hanging by a thread," he said. "Someone loosened them, probably hoping the wheel would come off once you picked up speed. That wasn't an accident." I didn't say anything. Just nodded. Let the silence do the talking. Danny retightened everything, triple-checked the rest of the wheels, and gave me a number to call if I needed anything overnight. Back in the cab, I thought about something a friend once told me. Another woman trucker I met up in Oregon a few years back. She'd said, "If anyone shows up too fast after a breakdown, don't get out. Doesn't matter how nice they seem. There's no cavalry in this business. Only vultures who know where the weak spots are." I used to think she was being paranoid. Now I think I'm paranoid too. I've driven tankers for 7 years. Chemicals mostly. Stuff with names you can't pronounce unless you've taken a hazmat class. I don't usually haul through the Appalachians, but 2020 was weird for work. Routes shifted. Demand changed. That week, dispatch had me doing an overnight from Knoxville to Raleigh, and the GPS sent me through some winding mountain roads near Asheville. It was around 2:30 in the morning. I'd been climbing the same stretch of road for what felt like half an hour. Slow, steep, curves that made you second-guess your mirrors. My eyes were gritty. I'd stopped for coffee earlier, but it had worn off. Fog had rolled in heavy about 20 minutes back. That thick kind that headlights just bounce off. I had the windows cracked a bit, letting in the cool mountain air to help stay alert. I didn't even have music on, just the engine's rhythm and some scattered voices over the CB. Nothing but woods on both sides. No lights. No signs. Just a stretch of road that looked the same no matter how far you went. I was halfway through thinking about pulling off for a break when I saw her. Dead center in my lane. A woman. Long hair, pale dress, no movement. I hit the brakes hard enough that everything in the cab rattled. My seatbelt locked across my chest, and the coffee cup in my console tipped sideways. Horn blaring. She didn't move, didn't flinch. Just stood there, staring. Her arms weren't out like she was flagging me down. They were just at her sides, like she'd already done her part and was waiting on mine. I was going maybe 25 up that incline, so I came to a stop in time, maybe 15 feet from her. Fog curled around her legs. My headlights lit her up, but she didn't react. No blink, no step forward, no step back. I leaned forward, adjusted the mirrors to make sure I was still centered. It felt like maybe I was seeing things. Maybe she wasn't really there. So I hit the horn again. Nothing. I cracked the door, leaned halfway out, and yelled, "You okay?" Still no reaction. Not even a twitch. That's when something in me finally kicked in. I slammed the door shut, locked it, and reached for the dash cam. Red light blinking. It was recording. I looked back up, and she was gone. I sat there, foot still on the brake, trying to figure out if I'd actually seen what I thought I did. I even played the dash cam back. It showed the road, my headlights, and just as the truck stopped, nothing. No figure, just fog. I looked around for pull-offs or maybe a driveway she could have come from, but there was nothing. Just trees and shoulder. I eased off the brake and started driving again, this time slower. I didn't see her in the mirrors. I didn't see her anywhere. Just fog. Just road. It felt wrong to just keep driving. I considered turning around, but then what? I wasn't about to call emergency services to say I'd seen a ghost with good posture. No way. About 45 minutes later, I pulled off at a gravel turnout to do a strap check. It's habit, especially with hazmat loads. You want to make sure everything's tight, no weird leaks, nothing's shifted. The fog was still thick, but the turnout had enough space for me to back in, nose out. I flipped on the hazards and climbed down with my flashlight. I started at the passenger side, scanning the wheels and straps. Everything looked fine, until I heard it. Knock, knock, from the back of the trailer. I paused, light trained on the side panel, waited. Knock, knock. Same sound. 2 soft hits like someone tapping knuckles against metal. I circled to the back, light in front of me. The trailer door was latched, but the bottom bolt looked slightly off. I reached out and tested it. It swung open with barely any pressure. Now, these trailers are heavy duty. That latch doesn't just come loose unless you didn't set it right, which I had. I triple check every time, especially with chemicals. I pulled the door open just a bit, heart pounding in my ears. Nothing inside. No damage. No leaking drums. No one hiding. Just cargo. I closed it up fast, this time jiggling the bolts twice before locking them. I stepped back, still holding the flashlight, and scanned the trees across the road. That's when I noticed something else. On the ground, maybe 15 feet from the rear bumper, a line of faint footprints in the gravel. Bare feet, leading away, not toward the trailer, away from it, into the trees. Didn't even bother checking my straps again. I climbed back into the cab and locked everything behind me. I drove the rest of the way to Raleigh without stopping. Didn't eat. Didn't sleep. When I got to the delivery site, I went straight to the back and checked the seal again. Still locked. Not a thing out of place. Like whatever I thought happened was just in my head. But I know what I saw. I know I latched that door. And I know those prints weren't mine. I still don't know what the hell that was. Some driver at a truck stop later said it might have been a hallucination, that between stress, fog, and lack of sleep, your brain can show you all kinds of things. But hallucinations don't leave footprints. They don't knock. And they sure as hell don't stand in the middle of the road, waiting for you to stop. This happened just west of Tucson, out on Highway 86. Early October 2022. I remember that clearly because it was right after I'd taken a load of steel supports out to Ahio and was deadheading back. Sun was down, roads were empty, and the desert was cooling off just enough to roll the windows halfway. I'm 34. Spent 8 years in the Army before I got into trucking. That probably explains why I tend to notice details most people miss. And that night, the details weren't adding up. I was cruising steady around 60, no traffic in sight for miles. Just me and the sound of the tires. Not even a jackrabbit in the beams. Then out of nowhere, a dark SUV lit up behind me. Red and blue lights, high beams flashing, no siren. Now, I've been pulled over a few times, random checks, wait station stuff, usual DOT interactions. I know what a trooper vehicle's supposed to look like. This one, too clean. No spotlight, no decals, no push bumper, just a plain black SUV. Looked more like a rental than a patrol unit. The lights were mounted inside the windshield, not on top. Still, I slowed down and signaled right, found a wide dirt shoulder and eased the rig over. My gut was already tightening. He got out real slow, kept a hand near his belt, but he wasn't wearing a uniform. No trooper hat, no badge I could see. Just a navy windbreaker and jeans. He walked up on the passenger side, which is already odd. Most cops come up on the driver's side unless traffic's bad. I leaned over, cracked the window, kept both hands in sight. He said, "Evening, driver. What are you hauling?" His voice was flat, no greeting, No ID. I said, nothing. Deadheading out of Ajo. He looked up at the sleeper cab. You got cameras in there? That was the first big red flag. Cops don't ask about cameras. Not like that. He followed it up with, how heavy was your load? Mind if I take a quick look inside? I said, you got a badge number? He paused, like he wasn't expecting that. Then he said, it's just routine. You can step out and we'll go over paperwork. I didn't budge. I asked again, firmer this time. Let me see your credentials. He took half a step back, hands still near his hip. I leaned toward my radio mic and pressed the button, loud enough for him to hear. Breaker 19 got a possible impersonator off 86 westbound, mile marker 103, requesting confirmation. The second I said it, he bolted. Didn't say a word. Just turned and power walked back to the SUV. Jumped in and peeled off into the night. No tail lights, and I swear to God, no license plate on the back. I waited 5-10 minutes. Eventually got a real trooper on the line through dispatch. Gave them the best description I could. They sent someone out, but by the time anyone showed up, he was long gone. No footage from traffic cams, nothing on nearby gas stations either. Desert's good at swallowing things whole. I installed a dash cam the next day. These days, I don't stop for lights unless they come with a badge I can see through the glass. And if they try the passenger side again, I won't even roll the window down. I keep thinking about those questions he asked. About the cargo, about the cameras. He wasn't looking for a citation. He was looking for a window. If you thought hauling across empty highways gave you chills, wait till someone follows you down a Walmart aisle. Smash that like button, hit subscribe so you never miss the next scare, and tell us which story got to you. And if late night shopping sounds relaxing, you haven't seen what's lurking near the toy aisle. Click now to watch 4 scary Walmart horror stories, because evil doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it just smiles. Stay ready, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next nightmare.